Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do part 2 in my short books vlog series. This is part 2 in probably a 4-part series. In this vlog I will be reading Any Man by Amber Tamblyn and Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Also, The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent, and finally 6 Stories by Matt 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. That's how I'm going to say the name. But I will tell you about each of the books as I read them. I believe I'm going to start with Any Man. If you happen to have missed part 1, I will link it down in the description box for you. I'm basically just doing this series to clear off all of the short books on my TBR and just reduce my physical TBR down from where it is. I have a bunch of books that I'm still in the process of unhauling, and I just really want to have books on my shelf that I'm genuinely interested in, and I want to knock them off so when I buy new books I can read those so they don't sit around for a very long time, if that makes sense, because then I start to lose interest. So let's start with Any Man, and let me go ahead and tell you about this one. This is an electric and provocative debut novel from Amber Tamblyn that blends genres of poetry and prose with elements of suspense to give shape to the shocking narratives of victims of sexual violence and maps the destructive ways in which society perpetuates rape culture. All of these are short books. I'm listening to this one on Scribd. I do have my Scribd linked down below if you want to get 60 days for free. This one is 269 pages, but there is some blank space and just the way it's formatted and stuff, so it should be a quick read even though it's also short. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. I've heard that people have really loved this one, but it's very difficult to read, so keep that in mind. Last night was very busy. I did not get to check in with you. I went to my in-person book club, then I hopped on reading sprints on Keisha's channel, and let me just say those reading sprints were so fun. I don't get to hang out with Rachel often, but she cracks me up, and it was Keisha and Jordan and Rachel and I, and that just combo was so fun and exactly what I have been needing and craving. So I did read Any Man by Amber Tamblyn on the reading sprints last night. And it's just a very hard book to talk about. It's a very hard subject to talk about, but I think the way that it's talking about in here, it's not, I mean, it's very sad. It's very horrific. It's very serious, but there's also funny bits woven into the story, so it's not just sadness start to finish. There's one character in here who is a comedian, and he ends up drinking and going off on a tangent, and it's sad, but it also brings a little bit lighter mood to the story. I only have 15 minutes left of the audiobook, so I'm gonna read that this morning. But mentioning the audiobook, I would say this is a book that you really should do both. You really should have the physical copy so you could flip through it, because the way that it's formatted, there's text messages, there's these kind of just stream of consciousness, there's lots of blank spaces, there's lots of computer things, but the audiobook is produced and performed so well. I am blown away by these people's performance. There was this one part, I don't want to spoil what it says or anything, but it is just this phrase repeated over and over again, and I'm sure as a narrator or something like that, it could get really monotonous to say the same phrase over and over again. But the way that this narrator did that, I think it's a full cast. The way that narrator did it, usually you almost want to skip ahead you know, because it's like you're just repeating the same. I can see that it's the same, but I did not want to because they performed the heck out of it. Also, one of the like slight annoyances that I have with audiobooks is that if there is a conversation happening between people, they will and it's just like two people, they will usually say like the person's name, then say what they say, the person's name, then say what they say, the person's like, and it's like, I know it's a conversation between two people, I don't need you to say their name every single time, but this audiobook does not do that. So bonus points for like letting the reader be smart enough to distinguish between two different voices and realize it's a conversation happening between two people. Like, thank you. Finished it. I'm rating the story 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's a very important, a very timely story. I say if you're interested in this, definitely give it a go. I highly suggest you get the physical copy and listen to it. But we basically are following the perspectives of 5 different men who have been sexually assaulted by the same woman. And just kind of, we don't get to see, we are told in detail about like what happened. So it's very heavy for that reason. But it's basically focused on the aftermath of the trauma and assault, and how like the media and our family members and like everybody, like you keep reliving the trauma of the actual assault and stuff like that. It's a tribute to those who have lived through the nightmare of sexual assault and asserts how the power of speaking out can change not only the life of survivors, but so to the world around them. I had an absolute blast at the Speak Now Patreon party last night. I'll insert some pictures. It was so much fun, but today I'm going to spend the day with some extended family. So I'm going to take you along for that, and I will give you a book update later. Long time, no update. This weekend just kind of got away from me, but I'm here with a reading update. I'm still reading, and then there were none, and I'm not loving it like I thought I would. There's just a lot of characters to keep up with. I wish it had a character list. I feel like this book has been out forever, so at least in one edition they should have a character list at the beginning. I tried to look up a character list. Do not recommend. There are spoilers out there. But so far I made it to page 87, chapter 7. So I have like more than half to go. But yeah, I don't really have many thoughts except for I wish there was a character list. And that's really it. I mean, it's a classic. People go to an island, things start happening, they don't know who's responsible. I mean, it's a classic, right? And then there were none. Locked room mystery. So a couple people have died. It's mysterious, and the writing is fine. It doesn't feel like necessarily like old. I just wish there was a character list. That's it. I've been really into cottage cheese lately, so I think I'm gonna have a little snack. That sounds good. I also got a bunch of fun drinks. Like I got the pink drink, and I got the Paradise drink, and I stocked up on some Alani red slushes. I got a couple of Gatorades in here. I got stuff to make Bloody Marys, but I think cottage cheese is what I'm feeling right now. So I finished And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, a classic that I have been wanting to read forever. And I finally accomplished that. Sorry, I'm messing with my scrunchie. I finally accomplished that, so I'm very happy about that. Okay, if I'm being honest with myself, I did like the ending, but the book itself did not keep me fully engaged the entire time. And I think that's because it had a large cast, more than 10 people, and I didn't have a character list to go by. And also it's just like my first time reading it. And I feel like, obviously, once you know what happens, that's always gonna be there. Like, you're always gonna know. But maybe when you reread it, you'll pick up some other clues. And like I said, I kind of was spoiled for what happened. And yes, it was a spoiler. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh, that's what I read. So I'm a little upset about that. I think that there should be character lists for books that don't have spoilers, that just have like identifying marks, like this person is a teacher and they're 36 years old and they came to the island because blah blah blah. But don't tell me who was guilty and who was innocent and all of that. Anyway, I am definitely going to keep a character list next time that I read it. And I do plan to reread this in January for a special little project that I have cooking up for my patrons. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3 stars, but I could change that rating when I read it in the future, and maybe I'm a little bit more engaged, and maybe I'm talking to other people that are reading it, have read it, that sort of thing. But on my own, 3 stars, which is pretty solid. So that is that. That is the second book down for this vlog. Now we have to decide what to read next, and as soon as I know, I will let you know. You can tell I am sweating, but I returned because I have moisturizer on. I have sunscreen on, but nothing else. And I'm so hot. I think I'm just gonna have to leave my sunglasses on. I returned my swimsuits at Target, and Old Navy is in the same shopping center, and they have like discounted whatever. I got several things, and I returned the 2 swimsuits, and I actually spent less at Old Navy. So like, I made money. Kind of, sort of. Of course, I spilled my drink all down my shirt, but I got one of their new frozen lemonades. I got the passion fruit mango. I don't remember, but it's good. But it was like dribbling and it went all down my shirt, and I was trying to make sure it didn't get anywhere else. I also got a cookie, and I got 2 books. I got the book that I needed for book club, and then I had to get this cute little graphic novel. So the graphic novel that I got is Out There by Sierra Miller. It's a middle grade graphic novel about this young girl named Julia who doesn't believe in aliens, but her father is convinced otherwise, and he believes that he was once abducted by aliens, and ever since then he's been obsessed with, you know, the extraterrestrial beings living out there. So when a festival commemorating the 75th anniversary of the infamous UFO crash in New Mexico rolls around, Julia turns down a dream vacation in Hawaii with her best friend Sarah to join her dad for a weekend trip to Roswell. And I love the art of this so much that I was like, I have to get this. So I'm very excited. Yeah, I'll just give you a little sneak peek. Very bright, very colorful. And then, oh my gosh, guys, I'm dripping sweat. But the book that my book club is going to be discussing, it's Well Read, Badly Behaved Book Club, Virginia Beach. We're going to be reading The St. Ambrose School for Girls by Jessica Ward, which is the book I threw in the ring again. So I'm having some really good picks. But yeah, this one is The Heathers Meets the Secret History, in this thrilling coming-of-age novel set in a boarding school where the secrets are devastating and deadly. So you'll see this on my August TBR, and I'm gonna be reading it in August. So I was gonna go to Kohl's, but it kind of looks like it's about to rain. I don't know, maybe if I drink my drink and turn on some air, I'll be a little bit more motivated. I just got my beanbag reading chair. I'm so excited. I hope it's as magical as I think it was gonna be. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the guy to drive away. But I'm so excited. He's turning. Up, there he goes. There goes the FedEx guy. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so small. Oh my gosh, but it's heavy. All right, you might hear my laundry going in the background, but I finally have started the Stillwater Girls. It's been 3 days. I am currently 42 pages in, and I had to stop and update you because this book is wild. It's dual POV. You have Ren, who's 20 years old, lives on a homestead with her mom and sisters, but her mom and like one of her younger sisters left like 73 days ago because Evie was sick and the mom was trying to get help. They have not returned, and then they're kind of like running out of like food and resources. And then you have Nicolette, the other POV, which is like a woman that lives with her husband who's an artist. She comes from a wealthy family. Her husband seems to be hiding some secrets. She deals with infertility, hasn't been able to have a baby of her own. didn't go through with the adoption process because she heard it would take too long. They're thinking about fostering now. I just love it because the chapters are short and there's like mini cliffhangers. So this is almost like a popcorn thriller, but I will keep you updated. This book is just wild so far. I had like theories early on, but now I'm just like, what is happening? But yeah, enjoying it so far. Hopefully I can blow through this today, but I have about an hour more to read, and then me and Daniel are going to see the Barbie movie, and then hopefully whatever I don't finish before then, I will come home and finish tonight because I really want to know what is going on. All right, I just got home from the Barbie movie. I'm gonna put these at my little like scrapbook thing, and I got a package, and I did not order this, so I'm very excited. Let's see what's inside. Oh my gosh! Surprise! I told you it was coming when I sent your birthday gifts, and now it's here. Hooray! I hope you enjoy this one just as much as the first, from Kayla. Oh my gosh, a Fatal Groove. If you don't know, this is the follow-up book to, let me find it, Vinyl Resting Place, which is so exciting because I really did enjoy this one. Yeah, this one just came out today. I'm so excited. Thank you, Kayla. You're the best. If I look exhausted, it's because I am. I just got home from the beach, and I am almost 100% positive. I'm gonna say 99.9% positive that the sun gives us energy because it saps our energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes our energy to give it back to us. Okay, so last night I finished the Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent, and I really liked this one, you guys. I have not heard anybody talking about it, and if you're a thriller reader, you need to get on it. It's short, it's fast-paced. I would consider this a popcorn thriller because the chapters are really short. It's dual POV, and the chapters, because you're getting like kind of two different stories, you're always interested, okay, what's happening next in the next story? Okay, what's happening next in the next story? And both perspectives are very, very interesting. And there's like mini reveals as you're reading. I read it in basically 2 sittings. I read it a little bit before I went to the movies, came home, finished it up, and I rated it 4 stars. It was very close. It's probably like a 4.5 if I'm being honest, but once again, I don't do half stars, so I'm giving it 4 stars. There was a little bit of unbelievability and a little bit of convenience, but it didn't make me like the book any less. It just, you know, you kind of have to like overlook those things and be like, okay, yeah, sure, those happened. But it was super interesting. I was engaged start to finish. I haven't heard great things about the author. So like Jessie from Reading with Jess like read one of her other books, and so did someone else. There's been like 2 people that have read that book that haven't really liked it. So I don't know that I'm going to pick that one up, but this one was a winner. So highly recommend this one. And the cover is so freaking creepy. So when I went to the beach, you saw that I started 6 stories, and I'm actually really liking this. I didn't know, like I said, it's been a while since I put this on my wish list, and all I remember is it being like about a podcast or something like that. So basically there's this investigative journalist, Scott King, whose podcast examines the complicated cases like the popular podcast Serial, and it actually mentions that several times in the book. But there is this incident that happened back in, I think, 1996/1997. It happened in 1996, but they didn't find the body until 1997. And Scott King, this podcast host, is interviewing different people in and around the case, and he's not trying to find out who done it, what happened. He's just presenting 6 different stories, 6 different POVs. So you have kind of the area where it happened, and then you have basically his interviews with people, and this is episode 1, and him talking is the italicized part, and then the regular font is the person that he is interviewing. And at first, when I was reading this little intro part, I wasn't that interested. I was like, okay, what is actually happening? It could have been because I was at the beach too and I was a little distracted, but I pushed through. I read the first story or the first episode, and then after the first episode it did one of those kind of insert things again. It went back to this kind of part, and I'm kind of can we just get to the 6 stories? So I'm about to go into episode 2, The Beast, and so I'm on page 45, and I'm really liking it so far. I won't say I'm getting 5-star feelings, but I do wonder if the audiobook is produced. If there's a full cast audio, I might just have to use an Audible credit, even though it's short, just because I love audiobooks and that are produced well, and I love podcasts, as you guys know. Yes, I have a podcast. It's called Talk Bookish to Me, and I talk all about books and different recommendation episodes and stuff like that, book recommendations. So definitely check out my podcast. I also have a Patreon that I do bonus episodes and early access to my videos and craft nights and movie nights and all of those things. So always check the description box. You'll see my Patreon link, you'll see my podcast link and stuff like that. But so far I'm enjoying this. I'm gonna read more. I did have some things to do today, but I kind of need to just relax after getting home from the beach. I do have a dinner to go to later, and I have plans with a friend later, so it's gonna be a long night. So I need to just take my time, relax, enjoy myself, and not push too hard today. You know, we all need days where we can just chill out and vibe. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hop back in, and I'll let you know more thoughts as I continue. Okay, I have finally finished the last book for this vlog, 6 stories, and this is the first book in a 6-book series. And to be completely honest, I started this one at the beach and I was reading it physically. I read the first episode of the book because there's 6 stories, so 6 episodes, and I read the first episode physically at the beach, and I was enjoying it. I was intrigued. It was a little slow, I was a little confused. I decided to go ahead and get the audiobook. It's only available on Audible, so I made the executive decision to go ahead and get the audiobook, and I'm so happy I did because it's a full cast and it's a podcast, so it makes sense to hear the different voices and stuff like that. So I highly recommend the audiobook if you're interested in the story. So this story follows a podcaster named Scott King who does kind of like a true crime podcast. Like he investigates stories, cold cases, and in this one he tells a story of this one boy that was found, and he looks at it from 6 different points of view, and he interviews like 6 different people trying to find out, like, I don't know, just the stories surrounding the case and kind of like, I don't know, lifting the veil type thing. And I will say that I wasn't shocked, or I wasn't like totally in suspense, because I wasn't expecting anything like twisty or turny to happen. I literally thought it was going to be a podcast told from 6 different POVs, and then that was going to be the story. But it does have a little bit of a twist to it. But I think if you go in trying to figure it out, like, you're gonna figure it out. But I thought it was interesting. That being said, I'm leaning to like a 2 or a 3 because I just thought it was okay. But then I decided to look up the synopsis of the second book, Hydra, because I didn't know, like, was it about the same thing? Like, what was going on? And it's a different case. And the second case sounds so interesting. So I'm really interested in moving on in the series. So it wasn't the writing that I didn't like. It wasn't the podcast element that I didn't like. I think it was just the actual story that he was investigating that I didn't care about. But I'm definitely moving on in the series. So that wraps up this vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night. I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.